So, NaLyssa Smith. It's just always the case. But, NaLyssa Smith never helps herself with some of the things that she says.
With Howard on board, the Fever gained shooting and toughness, but they weren't done yet. Enter Sophie Cunningham, the perfect addition. She brings elite shooting, gritty defense.
Not to mention, NaLyssa Smith is gone. If you're the Fever, how great do you feel about that? My goodness. Finally.
And the energy Indiana needs. While Smith struggled to find her fit, Cunningham thrives. Teaming up with Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell in the backcourt, she enhances floor spacing and adds defensive versatility. Her presence also creates more scoring opportunities for Aaliyah Boston and Natasha Howard inside. This trade isn't just a roster move, it's a statement. The Fever
got frustrated watching her play, and she represented, I think, the remnants of anything else that was wrong with the team, right? From the Christie Sides era and everything. And last year was a good year, all things considered. Wish her the best. But I actually think the Fever get great return here, considering I don't know where all these people think NaLyssa Smith's value was so high all of a sudden, given the way she played.
Are building a real contender, and Cunningham is the missing piece. Meanwhile, Smith didn't leave quietly. After being traded to Dallas, the former Fever standout took a surprising parting shot at her old team, making her feelings crystal clear. Things take a twist as Smith plays the victim, firing a parting shot that's bound to make waves across the league. But while she airs her grievances, the Indiana Fever might have just made one of the season's boldest moves. Sophie Cunningham is on her way to Indy, bringing her lethal three-point shot and a whole lot more. Ready to break down the drama and see why this trade could reshape the Fever's future? Let's get into it.
Many people in the fan base don't want her on the team.
3. Here's where it gets interesting. Smith paints herself as the victim while taking a parting shot that's caught the league's attention. Meanwhile, the Fever may have just pulled off one of the biggest steals in recent memory. Sophie Cunningham is on her way to Indy, bringing more than just elite three-point shooting. She's a difference maker. Ready to unpack the drama and see why this trade could be a game changer for the Fever? Let's dive in.
He goes to the wings, gets a fresh start. Hopefully that works out for her. Arike Ogunbowale has already welcomed NaLyssa Smith there. So that's part of this trade also. So you get these, a lot of moving parts here, because that's something a lot of people had anticipated and thought that the Fever were going to move on from Smith. And when Howard came in, it felt like, okay, Howard is taking her spot. And now Smith is no longer there to have a spot in the starting lineup or
It looks like there might have been a mix-up with that phrase. Did you mean many people in the fan base or something similar? Let me know what you're aiming for, and I'll make sure it fits smoothly into the text.
Ow! Oh, I'm sorry. You poked me in the eye.
Good, Charlie. You ate Charlie.
You did.
I did not poke you. Did you do it on purpose? I did not poke you in the eye. You did it on purpose? I got him in the knee. That was my reflex. It looked like you were just laughing.
It seems like that response might not be related to our conversation. Let me know if you were asking about something specific, and I'll be happy to help. 6. The Fever needed players who could shoot, defend across multiple positions, and thrive in today's fast-paced WNBA. Once considered a franchise cornerstone, Smith no longer seemed to fit the team's vision. Her struggles to adapt became increasingly clear, making a change inevitable.
Games, when you talk about championship levels, are won and lost in the margins, and so we've got to be great in the margins. We've got to grow in those areas.
In just a few years, NaLyssa Smith went from a potential franchise cornerstone to a player the Fever were ready to part ways with. But what led to the shift? It all comes down to the team's new winning formula, and trust me, it's a game changer. Enter head coach Stephanie White, bringing a bold vision to reshape the Fever's identity. Her plan: high-energy, fast-paced basketball built on versatility and adaptability.
I think we have a common goal. I think our visions are aligned. I think the way we go about our work is aligned, and it's consistent. And you're going to have consistency.
Here's where things get interesting. Smith's slower pace and inconsistent shooting stood out as major weaknesses in this new system. The Fever needed players who could run the floor, knock down threes, and switch seamlessly on defense. And Smith, she simply couldn't keep up. But there's more to the story. The front office didn't just test the waters with this new philosophy. They dove in head first. They went all in on building a roster that complements Caitlin Clark's high-energy style. The mission was clear: create a fast, relentless team that keeps opponents on their heels.
The most important thing. You got to have somebody that can run up and down the floor and catch those passes Caitlin's going to be throwing.
With Howard's arrival, the Fever added both shooting and toughness. But they weren't done yet. Enter Sophie Cunningham, the perfect fit. She brings elite shooting, gritty defense, and the spark Indiana needs. While Smith struggled to adjust, Cunningham thrives. Teaming up with Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell, she improves floor spacing and adds defensive versatility. Her presence also creates more opportunities inside for Aaliyah Boston and Natasha Howard. This trade isn't just a roster move, it's a statement. The Fever are building a true contender, and Cunningham is the missing piece.
At the defense, rebounding, rim running with Howard. They had more shooting and two tough players, feisty players. One player who's going to have Caitlin Clark's back, of course, in Cunningham.
In Sophie Cunningham, the Indiana Fever are trading for a multi-dimensional wing, capable of knocking down the three ball.
Cunningham is starting to cook. Cunningham 3 is good.
Cunningham from the corner, locking down defenders.
Several deflections, and this time she gets the steal and the N1 opportunity.
And injecting passion and emotion into the game and into her team. On offense, Cunningham is a floor spacer and a deep shot maker. Each of her last 3 seasons, she's finished top 20 in the WNBA in threes made per minute on the floor among qualified players. And she will join a backcourt that features 2 of the top 5 three-point shot makers from a year ago, Caitlin Clark and Kelsey. Cam's last 4 seasons, she shot an impressive 38% from the three-point line. And among players to hit at least 200 threes over that time, only 4 players in the entire league have shot it better from distance. One of those being Kelsey Mitchell. And Cunningham's ability to space the floor should give the Fever All-Star backcourt even more room to create on the drive than they had a year ago.